Do you need help growing your business? Take the challenge. The Thrivetime Business Coach program will beat any marketing firm's prices by 50%. Schedule your free consultation today at thrivetimeshow.com. Need a marketing firm? Our Business Coach program offers better and faster results for half the cost of any other marketing firm. Learn more at thrivetimeshow.com.
All right, Thrive Nation, welcome back to the conversation. It is the Thrivetime Show on your radio. My name is Clay Clark, and I just returned from Owensboro, Kentucky on Sunday as I was headed out there to work with a church called River City Church. And when I flew out to Owensboro, Kentucky, as is tradition when I fly with most of the airlines, except for Southwest Airlines, by the way, it seems like when I always fly with JetBlue or Southwest Airlines, it's crazy, but it's a good experience. And I have to fly with these other airlines because I'm going to Evansville. So I fly out there. And first off, the flight, when you get on the plane, it's going to be hot. If they have to, because what they're going to do, Paul, is if they have to delay your flight, rather than spending a few extra dollars to keep the cabin of the airplane cool, they save some dollars and they make it hot, dude. Dude, have you been on a plane where it's just absolutely like you almost can't escape, like sauna hot, Paul? Have you been on where you're stuck on a plane and it's so hot, and they're not going to turn on the air conditioning? Has that happened to you?
Absolutely, multiple times. I'd say more than average.
Yes,
more than probably at least 50% of the time. Yeah, and so they're sacrificing client service for money.
So bad experience number one.
Yep.
I get the airport, the TSA. These are the incredible employees here. And I'm sure there's a few good ones out there. But the Transportation Security Administration, of the 5 people that I interacted with, 3 were either outright mean or sarcastic during my Tulsa portion of the trip. Then when I get on the airline, it is so hot that I can't even communicate. I'm literally sweating down my back.
It's awful.
My kids are sweating. There's no overhead music. They've said they're not going to pass out the drink cart for apple juice, orange juice, water, or vodka. Nothing.
That's a human oven of grumpiness.
It's nasty.
Sounds terrible.
There's no overhead music. There's nothing. And then when you finally, after a 45-minute delay, we get in the air, and they announce to us that we'll be running behind, which means that you cannot catch your next flight. So when we get there, we hustle to get there in time for our next flight. And then they announce that that flight is going to miss its takeoff time. But they don't announce it until after the flight misses the time. They don't tell you in advance. And then they have one customer service agent working to handle 180 customers. And you know why? Because it's a largely unionized business. They've got people that cannot be fired there. They've got people with tenure working for a government-subsidized business. And so the question is for you, if you're trying to turn this negativity into some positivity, if you're trying to not run your business like an airport or a government-subsidized airline, how do you create a high net promoter score? How do you create a high experience? How do you create a high level of customer service experience where people are so excited by the experience that you provide that people run around praising your business? And this is where it gets very actionable, Chip.
Yes, sir. I've got one action step that you can add. It's more of a print action philosophy.
Yes.
This is one thing we were bragging on those Onyx guys. This is one of the main reasons that they're successful is they follow Dr. Z's number one rule in business, okay? Pigs get fed and hogs get butchered. If you're running that airline that's not Southwest and you're saving a few pennies by turning off the air, that's good reason to be butchered right there, right? You don't have, there's a terrible experience all the way around, and it's all because they're penny pinching. They're not creating that win-win scenario. And when you have that in mind, you want to create a win-win scenario with your client. That's how one of the ways you can increase that net promoter score and get them out there talking about how awesome you are.
So here's what you want to do. You want to create a checklist for your sites. You want to make sure that visually every part of your experience is awesome, all right? Virgin Airlines does this. JetBlue does this. Southwest Airlines does this. They try to make a visually appealing experience.
Yes.
The second, I want to get Paul Hood's take on this. Then you want to get the sounds right. You want to have overhead music playing. You want to make sure the announcements that are made from your flight attendants are not sarcastic. They are so sarcastic, in fact, for most airlines outside of Southwest Airlines, that Saturday Night Live made a parody. Do you guys remember the Saturday Night Live parody about airlines?
I
Chup,
don't.
you never saw that?
I don't know.
Dude, this is what they did. Did you see this, Paul?
I'm not sure. I think I have. Maybe not.
I want to cue up the audio and play it, Chup, on our next segment so the listeners can hear it. But the airlines were notorious for you'd walk up to them and you would say, yeah, I have a question. My son, we have a carry-on, and I wanted to see if it could fit there, or if I need to check it. And they'd go, thank you, bye-bye. And you're like, I wanted to know what gate do I need to find my next flight? And they go, thank you, bye-bye. And no matter what the question that was asked, they'd always say, bye-bye. And that became a Saturday Night Live parody.
I do remember this. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So what I'll do, Thrivers, is I'll play that for you when we come back from our next break so you can hear it. The interactions. People at Southwest Airlines are genuinely fun people. They're kind. They're upbeat. They enjoy life. They're trying to celebrate it with you. Let me give you an example. I actually went to the check-in window at an airline that's not Southwest Airlines about 4 months ago. And the lady was so rude when we were checking in our bags. She was just so rude and so mean to me that the Southwest Airlines employee, who wasn't even working yet, they just got there for their shift, they pulled me aside and said, hey, do you want some vouchers for that restaurant up there? I apologize. That's just that crap they do all the time. But the Southwest Airlines person is so used to people literally berating or Chup, have you ever dealt with these other people? I mean, it's crazy how consistently patronizing and negative the other airlines are. It's unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. It's almost every single time, like we've talked about. I don't know of the last 10 times that I've flown, maybe 8 of them there was terrible experiences, delays, having to, get $200 hotel room that they're like, well, we'll give you a voucher for a flight that you can take within the next 6 months. I'm like, I'm not planning on traveling for the next 6 months. Right. What good does this do for me?
It's unbelievable. So here is what you can do to make this actionable. If you own a business and you want to make your experience great, and I know you do, what you want to do is you want to make a checklist of your sites. What visuals need to be up there? And for the show notes today, Chup, I took pictures of the Fridays restaurant.
Oh.
And that way the listeners could look at sites that are intentional. The sounds. You want to make sure that you have an experience where the music overhead is positive. Your interactions. You want to script out what your people should say when they're on the microphone, if interacting with customers, when greeting customers. You want to build scripts for that. The smells. By default, it's going to smell like urine. You've got to make an intentional smell. You got to have checklists for your pricing. This is what's squirrely. Have you ever discovered that the other airlines are always trying to get you to pay an extra baggage fee there?
Have you seen this, Paul Hood? Fee.
Yeah.
Have you seen this, Paul?
Yeah, they get you in. They get you, you buy your ticket.
Super cheap.
And super cheap. And then, here comes all the upcharge.
Do you want to bring a bag?
You want to buckle that seatbelt? That'll be $12.
No, and without any exaggeration, if you want to check a bag on the screen of the other airlines, it'll say, do you want to check a bag? Yes. And then it's like $25. And then it's like, do you want to upgrade to yada yada seating or whatever seating? But it's always a default to yes. And they're constantly trying to nickel and dime you.
Just trick you.
At Southwest Airlines, there's no extra fees. I don't understand why other people can't figure this out. It's amazing to me. So as my wife and I are traveling, I was making notes of all the calamities. So what happens is we got delayed on our first flight. Then we were trying to fly from Dallas to Evansville. It's delayed again. They don't announce it, though, until after you missed your time. And so my wife hops on the 1-800 number because she does the math and realizes they're not going to tell us that we're going to miss our flights. We're just going to have to move.
Miss it.
No, seriously. And so my wife got a hold of them. We transitioned to a different flight so we could fly into Louisville, and then that way we wouldn't be stranded in Dallas. At least we could get out to Louisville, Kentucky. Now, I want to remind you, Chup, if you look this up real quick, I want to see, how long does it take to drive from Tulsa, Oklahoma to Louisville, Kentucky? If you could look that up real quick. Because we did not get into Louisville, Kentucky until 1 a.m., and we began our journey at 2:30 p.m. So I would like to figure out the math on that.
That looks like, come on, it's
going to
be 9 hours and 40 minutes.
So it would have been faster to drive, just a thought. Then, to kill 10 minutes while we're sitting there waiting for our flight to Louisville, I walk up to the counter and I talk to a flight attendant by the name of Nadir, Nadir. And during our discussion, he explains to me that he's been stuck at the airport since 6 a.m. because the flights have been delayed. And he explains to me I should basically feel sorry for him because he's been on his feet for 12 hours. For 10 hours. Now, here's what's hilarious.
Wait.
As an entrepreneur,
he works there?
He works there.
Okay.
And I said, how's it going? And he's like, man, I've been on my feet my feet for like 10 hours. Now, I want to explain to Nadir and any of the non-small business owners listening. If you own a business, Paul, think about your last day. Think about Monday. Think about Friday. Think about Tuesday. How many hours do you work in a typical day, Paul, when you were starting Hood & Associates? How many hours a day did you work?
11, 12 a day.
So this is what's hilarious. We sit down in our plane. This is a true story. Nadir explains to me, he's like, I said, how's it going, man? He goes, man, I've worked like 10 hours today. I've been on my feet. Now, I don't have a burning desire to run around and chastise people, but I wanted to let him know, like, dude, listen, like, I don't recall the last day I didn't work 10 hours. So you being a weak ass who hops on the microphone and explain, this is literally the announcement that was made from the airplane. Once we finally got on the flight, this is what the pilot says.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would appreciate it if we wouldn't criticize the flight attendants. I've been on my feet for 10 hours today, and I flew in from Mexico. So if we could just tone down any lip that we're giving to the flight attendants. I've been on my feet for 10 hours today.
And so the flight attendant, the stewardess, and the pilot is actually telling us that he would appreciate it if we would tone down any lip.
Come on.
Now, one lady had been at the bar for 4 hours, and I know this because I also went to the bar. I'm like, we've been stuck for hours, so I should probably go to the bar. So I go to the bar to grab a beverage, and that's when I realize that there's people who've been waiting for 4 hours at the bar. And I said, ma'am, how long have you been waiting for this flight? She says, 5 hours. Another person says, 4 hours. So we get on the plane. Now, remember, she's been waiting for 4 hours. And according to her, I don't know how good her math is, according to the bartender goes, yeah, she's had 3 or 4 beverages, but she's trying to get through this. So then on the plane, we're sitting there waiting now. She's been waiting 4 hours. And we're on the plane now waiting to go to Louisville. And she turns to the flight attendant and says, excuse me, ma'am, when are you going to bring out the alcohol cart? And she says, have you had something to drink? Because I might have to get you off this plane if you don't tone it down.
Wow.
And I'm going, whoa, here we go. And this is why people don't like flying on most of the airlines. And this is why Southwest Airlines has made a profit every year for 44 years. And the other airlines would throw a freaking party if they could string together 2 or 3 years of profitability. My son then points out to me at 7:47, he says, Dad, will this be a smaller plane? Because the smaller planes are more likely to crash. Oh, God. But he didn't say it with an inside voice. He said it with the outside voice.
Oh, no.
Hey, Dad!
That's right. So we get on the plane, and this is where, again, I took note of just how airports should be. Herb Keller, the founder of Southwest Airlines, this is a notable quotable. He says, the core of our success and the most difficult thing for a competitor to imitate. See, they can buy all the physical things. The things you can't buy are dedication, devotion, loyalty, the feeling that you are participating in a crusade. So at Southwest Airlines, they have a bunch of happy people that work there. And you see, the other airlines might lower their prices and try to compete, but the people who work there are sarcastic and they're not positive, and it's not a good experience. So when we come back from the break, I want to get Eric Chupp's take on how at the Thrivetime Show, how we work with our teammates on a daily basis to create positive faces. How do you inspire your workforce on a day-to-day basis? Stay tuned.
Want to attend the legendary Thrivetime Show Business Workshop for free? Subscribe on iTunes, leave an objective review, and send us confirmation at info@thrivetimeshow.com to claim your tickets. Want to live in a van down by the river? Come by and see us at our Riverwalk offices, and we'll be able to make your dreams come true.
All right, Thrive Nation, welcome back to the conversation. It is the Thrivetime Show on your radio and podcast download. And I'm just returning now back from a trip where I went to Owensboro, Kentucky, to help a church. We're helping this church called River City Church to improve their workflows and systems. They have great pastor, great volunteer, great teams, just a great organization. All they need is systems. And so it's a real honor to serve those guys at River City Church. But en route to Owensboro, Kentucky, I had a flight that was delayed. So again, I get to the airport. I have 3 out of the 5 TSA employees I run into are negative. That's the transportation. I don't know if you're aware, if you're not familiar with flying often, it's the Transportation Security Administration. It's the people that are supposed to keep you safe from terrorists and such. 3 out of the 5 of them were negative. Then I get to the airline itself, and 1 out of the 2 flight attendants on the first flight was negative. The flight is delayed while still on the runway, which baffles me. Then they don't turn on the air conditioning. There's no overhead music. You begin to sweat. Then our flight gets delayed. They don't make any announcements. We keep getting delayed and delayed and delayed from Dallas. Finally, my wife makes an audible call. We call a 1-800 number. We get on the flight to Louisville. That flight is also delayed. When we finally do land in Louisville, our luggage is lost. When the luggage is lost, we discover we have to drive 2 hours to get to Owensboro. So at 2 a.m, we get to Owensboro for a speaking event that starts at 9 a.m. Without the luggage and without the workbooks, I then go to Walmart to buy the accoutrements, the decor, the deodorant, all the things that I need to pull off the workshop. And the entire time I was going through a hellacious, yet again, customer service experience, I discovered that really it's a system that the airlines and the airport have developed to providing terrible customer service. It's beyond just an accident. I mean, this is their systemic approach. And so I wanted just to inspire everybody out there to not run your business like an airport. They're a government subsidized industry. You understand that like airlines are subsidized by the government. Outside of Southwest Airlines, which, oh, by the way, has turned a profit for 44 years in a row, everybody else consistently loses. All the time. Paul, these people literally cannot be fired because they're subsidized by the government. So it's a thing where, like, if you ran your small business the way that airlines run the airlines, you'd be out of business, man. If you ran your business the way that TSA runs the airports, you'd be out of business. So we're talking today about specifically how to create a positive environment. But, I mean, does it not blow your mind that the airports and the airlines have such terrible customer service every time? Whoa, Paul, did I mute you there? Was that kind of a passive? Are you back there, Paul?
Here you go.
I think Paul is somehow muted unintentionally there. That was kind of a...
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. I'm not sure where you... Right. We will deal with it when we come back.
That had to be Chup.
It was a passive-aggressive...
I was trying to take one out on him.
Clay, I'm not surprised because, like I said in the last segment, anytime the government gets involved, they mess things up. And when you don't have the fear of failure or the fear of repercussion, you don't serve other people. And, at hoodcpas.com, that's one of the reasons we're giving away, Clay, I don't know if you haven't mentioned this yet. We haven't mentioned this. We're giving Warren Buffett's Snowball book away because that is the epitome of free enterprise.
You're giving every single listener to our podcast or the radio show.
Yes, sir.
A free copy of Warren Buffett's only authorized biography, a book called Snowball, at no additional charge, no upcharge. You're giving it to the listeners. All you have to do is go to hoodcpas.com to claim your book, and this is the catch. If you schedule a 1-hour consultation with Paul Hood with Hood CPAs, he'll look at your financial life to make sure you're headed the right way financially, and he will give you a free copy of the Snowball book. I mean, that's all you have to. Thank you, Harry Carey. All you have to do to get the free book is to schedule a consultation. It's a 1-hour free consultation, and you get a free book. It's a game changer.
It is a game changer. And Clay, like I said, he talks about it's free enterprise. He didn't get any subsidies, and the government intervening always messes it up. You have to let free enterprise and the market system take care of things. And I guarantee you we would have a better system if they would allow airlines to fail. There would be 2 or 3, 4 more airlines come up that are actually profit motivated, like Southwest Airlines.
So let me give you a notable quotable from Herb Keller, the founder of Southwest Airlines, the consistently profitable airline. He says, when someone comes to me with a cost-saving idea, I don't immediately jump up and say yes. I ask, what's the effect on the customers? Herb Keller goes on to say, I tell my employees that we're in the service business, and it's incidental we fly with airplanes. He goes on to say, we will hire someone with less experience, less education, and less expertise than someone who has more of those things and has a rotten attitude because we can train people. We can teach people how to lead. We can teach people how to provide customer service, but we can't change their DNA. He goes on to say the core of our success, this is Herb Keller, the founder of Southwest Airlines, the core of our success, that's the most difficult thing for a competitor to imitate. They can buy all the physical things. The things you can't buy are dedication, devotion, loyalty. The feeling that you are participating in a crusade. He goes on to say, you don't hire for skills, you hire for attitude. You can always teach skills. And so, Chuck, I brought a recorder with me on my speaking event there, on my trip to Owensboro, Kentucky. And
Captured that audio.
I wanted to record the audio of the flight attendants dealing with customers. And so without any further ado, this is live audio of the airlines dealing with actual customers.
This concludes the safest part of your journey. Thank you for flying Total Bastard Airlines. Indicated at the start of the flight, we at Total Bastard Airlines are bitter about the career paths we've taken, and we do tend to take that out on our passengers. We at Total Bastard Airlines realize that in your travel plans, you have a choice of many airlines. So we'd like to thank you for choosing to fly the blue skies of Total Bastard.
This is from Sunday.
Okay, here we go. Thanks for flying with us. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Thanks now. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Hey, you live here in Pittsburgh?
No, actually, I'm here.
Bye-bye.
Hey, excuse me, could you tell me?
Bye-bye. I'm sorry, what? What part didn't you understand? The buh or the bye? Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hi, I'm getting a connecting flight to Denver, and I was wondering, do you know the gate?
Bye-bye.
Yeah, I'm just about to go.
Bye-bye.
But if you just wait.
Bye-bye.
This is not so true. This is how it works.
Bye-bye. You're very heavy.
What'd you say, Mom?
What? I said bye-bye. I just said bye-bye 40 times in a row. Why would I say anything else? It doesn't make sense. Did I just say something without knowing it? No, go, bye-bye.
Hi, I was just wondering.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Excuse me, hello, you have been rude to me
Bye-bye.
the entire flight. No,
Bye-bye.
I wanted a blanket and
Bye-bye.
you never
Bye-bye.
brought it to me.
Bye-bye.
And
Kathy, little help.
I'm
Bye-bye.
gonna report this.
Bye-bye.
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 Each of you. You are so
Bye-bye.
rude.
Bye-bye.
Never
Bye-bye.
fly this ridiculous airplane.
Bye-bye.
And this is what a lot of small business owners are doing as well.
Right.
If in your business right now, sarcasm, spasms are the normal, you've got to fix that workflow. When we come back, we're going to teach you how to make a great customer service experience. Stay tuned. It's the Thrivetime Show on your radio.